If I were to tell you that the United States military has an official gaming team that streams on Twitch, would you have believed me? That there are soldiers paid to play video games. You know, the first time I heard this, I thought that it's ridiculous. But then I'm thinking, you know what? Like, throughout history, the military has had different ways of enticing people to join their ranks. I mean, take this poster, for example. Now, I don't know why the military would want the type of people that would join thinking they get girls like that if they do. In fact, chances are that if you have a girlfriend and you join the time you're away, things could happen. But you know what? Like, it is what it is. And it's at least not as cringy as what the United Kingdom does. Now, the UK actually had a very interesting series of adverts saying that they want binge gamers, they want phone zombies, and they want snowflakes. As a matter of fact, the guy that was used on the picture with the snowflake decided to quit the armed forces because of the humiliation that he received. He didn't like the fact that they used his picture without permission. I'm pretty sure it's legal, but still, the decency of it all. And the UK even has like this commercial where it has a kid playing games 24/7 and his father is upset, saying that you will never become anything in life if you keep playing video games. And then it turns out that the army recruits him and his stamina for playing video games is quite useful. Yeah, you know, like, this is really cringe. Kind of false advertising. I mean, when you join the military, chances are you might end up killing people, you know. I don't think you want snowflakes and gamers that do not understand the harsh reality of warfare, but yeah, I mean, you know, like, the military gets to try different tactics, I suppose. And given this into perspective, maybe the US military having a couple of streamers playing Call of Duty online isn't really that cringe. If it works, it works. I don't know. Though, in a perfect world, I would like to hope that most people join the military because they want to defend their country, or because they want to pursue a career in the army. Or maybe that they need to have a stable job and that's what they can offer to society. I like to hope that the overwhelming amount of people do not join because they played Call of Duty and they enjoyed slaughtering NPCs there and now they want to reproduce that in the real world because it's fun and exciting. But that's just my hope, you know. Meanwhile, because the US military decided to do this on Twitch, certain problems have occurred. Now, anyone that's familiar with the internet is also familiar with trolling. So if you want to portray something serious on the internet, you are going to get trolled. Now, the only way to prevent trolling is to shut down the comment section. I mean, this is what almost every single mainstream media outlet does. They shut down the comment sections. And even on YouTube, on specific videos, my favorite one is from Robin D'Angelo, which says, why don't white people feel comfortable talking about race? And I'm like, you know what? I should be comfortable. I'm going to tell Robin D'Angelo a thing or two about race. You know, I, as a white person, I'm going to just go into those comment sections and lecture her about, you know, like, I'm going to stop being fragile, Robin. I will stop being fragile. I will tell you what I think, what I really think. And then you notice that the comments have disabilities. And it's like, oh, that's why white people are uncomfortable talking about it, because the comments have disabilities. Yeah? But all jokes aside, right, that's pretty much how the left pushes its unpopular ideas on the internet. They make sure no one can talk against them, like they get censored. You know, you talk against something that's very popular on the left, on the culture wagon, you get censored. Your comments get deleted, you get banned. And that's how they protect themselves against trolling. Now, apparently, people who decided to troll the United States Army found the same way that you control any army in the world from any superpower. Talk about its war crimes. I mean, I don't think there is a single army from a superpower in the entire world that throughout history did not commit war crimes at one point or another, right? So they started, posting from Wikipedia, and they noticed that the moderators initially started banning certain words so that you can't post them. And then what ended up happening is that they actually started banning the people that did post them. And all of a sudden, the far left is for free speech. Just like that. Just like that, they started believing in free speech, and it's like, oh, why are you censoring me, bro? It's so fascinating. Like, you go on Twitch, on every single channel, like 90% of these channels moderate, and you have to moderate on Twitch. You have to. The Twitch company forces you to moderate your chat. Like, if you do not, it's not like on YouTube, okay? Like on YouTube, if I don't moderate my chat, I don't get into trouble for what you guys post in the chat. But on Twitch, if people post bad stuff into the chat, then the streamer can get into trouble. It's very similar to Reddit. It's very similar to Discord. I find it the epitome of hypocrisy. Like, these platforms are offered protection by the government for the things that get posted there. Like, they're not responsible for what's posted there. It's the user that posts that's responsible, right? But they don't offer the same courtesy to the user. So, banning and censoring on Twitch is the norm. It's like almost everywhere you go. You can't get away with it, right? But for some reason, when the US Army does it, it's unacceptable. I mean, and the argument from the US Army is that it was getting harassed. I'm not even joking. Like, that is their argument. They were getting harassed. As such, they decided to ban the trolls. Now, it's your decision to decide whether or not this is censorship. I mean, yeah, in a way, I do view this as trolling. Like, if you're going to make a burner account, which is what most of these people did, and you join into a space with the sole purpose of derailing the conversation, which was about Call of Duty, right? You're just derailing it and you're antagonizing the streamer. Yeah, I can see why that would be considered trolling, especially if you're spamming. Like, even before the internet got censored, like even in the golden age of the internet, if you were to go in a channel or a forum with the sole intent of causing trouble and trying to antagonize the moderators or the people doing that, and you were spamming, you would get banned. In fact, on my channel, that's pretty much like the only rule that I go on my live stream. It's like, don't spam. You can say whatever you want. You're responsible for it. Don't come crying if you get banned. Like, it's your responsibility. Use your common judgment, but don't spam. Like, no one likes spam. So, yeah, that's the argument of the US military. But apparently, they might violate First Amendment, lawyers say. Now, this is very interesting, This is something that I personally disagree. It's a law that I guess was passed by the Supreme Court of the United States, claiming that the US president can't ban people on Twitter. So this is very interesting because a lot of journalists managed to make a name for themselves by antagonizing the US president. Like, what they would do is that the US president would say, "Good morning, America, what a beautiful day it is." And then the journalist would reply to that and say, "When are you going to die, you old fart? You're bringing fascism into the country. You're a piece of shit, blah, 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 blah." And the journalist would get a lot of likes and retweets based on that very interesting and cerebral tweet. Okay, so when Donald Trump started banning journalists, what ended up happening is that they were losing money. So they started crying and they sued the US president. And to everyone's shock and surprise, despite the fact that Twitter is a private platform and can do whatever it wants, apparently the US president on his own personal account cannot ban people because it's a violation against free speech. So a journalist can ban you, basically, but for some reason the US president can't. It's kind of funny, like, these journalists are banning people left and right, non-stop. Like, these blue check marks, they're like a banning machine. They even shared ban lists between each other. Right? Like, they're not against the idea of banning. And when they get banned, They could, like, some of them even made the argument that that is violence. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, they were saying, no, this is violence from the president against the press. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, you know? So like, if that's what you think when you share massive ban lists between each other, what do you call that? But yeah, no, like, apparently the US president can't ban people, right? The Supreme Court said so. I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also got into trouble for banning people. So I guess, like, the morality is, in a way, like, the way they're reframing it is that, okay, so these people are being paid by the taxpayer money, and because they get taxpayer money, they should uphold the principles of the United States for free speech. Like, that's how I would interpret this decision. And a lot of leftists say the same. It's like, oh, the government shouldn't censor, but everyone else can. And it's like, listen, you moron, if you legitimately believe that, you zombie brain, you, understand that politics flow from culture. If you're going to get people normalized with the idea that censorship is okay when it happens, and literally everywhere you go on the internet right now, it's okay for the company to censor you, then don't make a Pikachu face and be all shocked that when you're going to notice that people are going to be like, well, censorship is okay, I want to use it against people I disagree with. So in other words, you know, when Donald Trump says, yeah, burning the US flag is illegal, then people are going to support that, and you're going to make a Pikachu face, and it's like, oh, but free speech. It's like, what free speech? Where did you see free speech? On the internet? Clearly not. Where do you think people spend most of their time nowadays? On the internet. You help them integrate the idea in their head that censorship is okay. You know, like the same argument that you use against people when all these platforms decided to censor, and it was like, well, why do you have to say the N-word? Like, can't you just have a polite conversation without saying the N-word? And a lot of people have been convinced by this strong argument. And now they're like, well, why do you have to burn the American flag? Can't you have a polite conversation without burning the American flag? It's your idea. You came up with it, left. Own it. You brought it in the public space. And a lot of people have been convinced now that censorship is okay. So politics is downstreams from culture. And if the culture is okay with censorship, what do you think is going to happen? It's just like the right-wingers, they're still going to follow their ideology and their politics, but they're also going to use censorship as a weapon down the line because you normalized it. I don't even understand why I need to express these things. And by the way, like the reason that censorship is wrong, and these people don't understand it, is because if people cannot communicate, if people cannot express their opinions, then violence is the next answer. Like, it's like an escalation, you know? So the idea of free speech is to actually defend society from people becoming violent. That's really what it is, so that people can come to a table, negotiate. No one gets really 100% of what they want, but at least they try to get to an understanding. That's what democracy is all about. It's not just politicians talking. No, like the culture should have these conversations as well. And when you say, no, these conversations aren't allowed, and you smash your fist into the table, what do you think people are going to do? Like, what is the next step? If you cannot be heard, if no one cares about your concerns. I mean, you know, like they teach us this in school in Eastern Europe, okay? Like maybe the teachers here aren't good or something. I don't know. But I got taught this in civic class, and I did civic class in my high school. This was taught to me, like, they explain why free speech exists. It's like, and they also explain, like, free speech isn't when people agree with you. Because, no, like, we had that under communism. You know, it was the joke, a Russian meets an American. And an American says, you know what, like, the reason America is better is because in my country we can criticize the president, we can criticize the politicians, and we can criticize the army. And the Russian goes like, well, how is it better? We here in Russia can also criticize the American president, the American government, and the American military. Like, we also have the same free speech. So yeah, like, no, free speech is when someone says something that you completely disagree with it, and you find it abhorrent, but that person should still be allowed to speak it. And bigotry doesn't mean a person that thinks differently than you. Bigotry is a person that doesn't listen to reason anymore, and they're just violent. Like, they don't open a conversation. They're not interested in a discussion. That's what bigotry is about. But coming here with my Eastern European concepts. So yeah, I don't know if the army is going to get in trouble for this. I think they will, actually, because if the president can't ban people on Twitter, then the military probably can't ban people on Twitch either. But you know what they can do? They can just disable the comment section. You know, it's going to be really interesting, though. Like, this is actually something that I am very curious to find out. So, for example, if, from my knowledge, and I might be wrong with this, but please tell me, like, you guys go to Twitch more often than I do, but I'm pretty sure that you have to moderate your chat. Otherwise, you can get in trouble. Like, I know people who got banned because they didn't moderate their chat. I don't know if it's an explicit rule or not, but everyone needs moderators, right? So here's my question. If people, let's say the US military cannot ban people anymore, okay? Like, they're not allowed to moderate by law. And you have like burner accounts going in there and posting the N-word, okay? What would happen? Like, would Twitch ban the US military account because they're not moderating their chat? Or would Twitch send moderators themselves in order to ban this person? That's an interesting question, isn't it? But hey, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.